Avengers!
Oh, hey there. I am Tim Wembembo Fitzgerald, and I am your host for this week's episode of Talking Schmack. And you may be wondering where Josh is, but he had to go do a ting, and so I'm here to take care of all the things here on Talking Schmack. So I am joined this week by Alex. Alex, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I appreciate that you bring homemade pasties. This is delicious.
Yeah, I hear pasties are a little different here in the States.
They are. Typically we have Yoopers who make them, and they're from some kind of game kill. This is heavy on the starch and vegetables.
Oh, we Brits we love the starch. You can't go wrong with the starch. We got the fish and the chips, and you got the I was gonna say hoagies. We don't do hoagies over in the. I lost it. I'm not a good improviser, but that's my best British impression that I could come up with. If you're wondering what the hell I'm even doing, I'll share a story that inspired it. But you also have to go back and listen to the last like 6 episodes of Two Blokes from Blighty on the Video Game Club channel,
hmm
just to kind of get an understanding. But that's my best British impression there. That's my best British accent, which is actually more just the Wisconsin accent.
Yeah, yours sounds a
So,
little bit like a Wisconsin mated with somebody from Michigan, and then like left their child alone for 12
oh,
months.
you making fun of the Yoopers?
Oh, there's nothing wrong with a Yoopers.
Oh,
I can't
don't you
do
be
it.
talking bad about the Yoopers. I apologize if this is a little too grotesque for people, but I've been having fun listening to Tim and Joey make fun of my Chicago Midwest Chicago accent. Forget about it. But I was out for work this last week, and I was in Appleton when you guys were recording your Barbie episode.
hmm
I run registration for the events that we do, and there's a guy who came up to registration, and he's like, "Oh, hey there, I'm gonna wait for my buddy here if that's okay." And I'm like, "Whatever, man. It's a free country. You do what you do." And he's okay. And this guy's into his 50s, 60s. He's just sitting there talking to me, and then finally his friend shows up. I get his friend registered, get him all checked in, and then the Wisconsin guy, he's talking to his buddy, and he's like, "Oh, hey there, oh man, I just went to the doctor, and oh man, he told me I got the biggest hemorrhoids he's ever seen,
Oh my.
but it's all okay because I got so much fat back there that it doesn't matter." And I'm like, who says this openly in public? But also, it inspired me because I can do the Wisconsin accent pretty well. I was like, that's my comeback to Tim. But oh man, those hemorrhoids. Oh, you don't got to worry about them if you got a lot of fat back there.
A lot of fat back there.
Fat back there. Not there. There.
There. Oh, I can't even.
Yeah, let's just hear from
Uh,
J and K over at Fuck My Work Life, and we'll be back to talk about Secret Invasion in the Marvel Universe. So we'll be right back. We'll be right back there.
Working can be such a drag, but it's a necessary evil.
What better way to combat the woes of the working world than to commiserate with your fellow man?
I'm Jay,
And I'm Kay.
and we're the hosts of Fuck My Work Life, a comedy podcast where we share people's stories from the workplace.
Whether they're funny, weird, scary, or just plain messed up, they're always entertaining and may leave you thinking you don't have it so bad after all.
Available on all major podcast platforms. Give us a listen. Your sanity may just depend on it.
See, I find my sanity in just the amusement that other people can offer me because I forgot about like how bad the Wisconsin accent can be because like Charlie Barnes is out there and he's getting famous doing the Wisconsin accent as a whole bit in it for his
oh
comedy
yeah.
routine. like, oh, we're from the Midwest and we just talk like this, and we go to the Fleet Farm and we just, oh, hey, I'm gonna be a little nice when I'm being a little bit of a jerk at the same time. And I'm just like, it's the same thing with the Big Bang Theory. It's the same concept. It's the same joke, and he's just doing the accent, but he's making money off of it, getting invited to commentate on Packers games up when Fox is in Wisconsin for Lambeau games. I'm just like, man, if I could have figured out that bit, man.
He's been through town a few times. He's sold out the Coronado like twice, I think.
I'm not surprised Midwest people are easily entertained and they don't understand. Like, how many people around you are like, oh man, I love the Big Bang Theory?
Yeah, I mean, well, that's one of the jokes about this area. It's like the tornado sirens go off and everyone goes out on their porch to go like, there it is. Took out the old Henderson place. Ooh, it's getting a little close. You might as well go inside. Oh, there goes a car. Yeah, time to go inside.
There's a great bit from Futurama where I can't remember what they're doing, but they're talking to the Execubots. There's the one woman Execubot who like downplays the role of the Midwest when it comes to ratings and the livelihood of a show. And they pitch a show and she goes, it will play in Peoria. Like, it's funny, but will it get them off their tractors?
No, it will not get us off our tractors.
They will never shut up. They will never shut up about their tractors.
Oh my gosh. Which reminds me, so there's a cookie chain that's apparently coming to our area soon called like Cookie Crumble, Crust and Crumble, something. And so I'm like, okay, why is everyone excited for this? And I looked it up. The reviews are terrible. It's actually horrible. But the chain got popular with apparently like two brothers or something who they quit their jobs because they wanted to learn how to bake, and they started this thing, and they make basically absurd cookies. They make like just gooey explode, like they shove a bunch of crap in them, and it's all about the Instagram look. But everybody who reads them is like, like all the reviews are like, got the limited edition one. Yeah, it wasn't cooked all the way through, and it's way too sugary, but blah blah blah. And so people go out and buy it because it's bad. And I'm like, I'm so excited that we're getting a chain that is known for poor quality cookies, and we're gonna have a line out the door.
Well, I mean, we also have a crap ton of dispensaries now, so I mean, who cares about quality when you just get a fix?
Hey, listen, I still go to the guy down the street. I trust him. I know where he gets his stuff. He's only been arrested like 6 times.
No, that's pretty good.
He's a good guy. It kind of reminds me of my little brother came to visit us for a week. He lives in Minnesota, and so we're like, hey, what do you like to eat? Do you want to like try like a Thai place, or do you want to try? What do you want? And he's like, so he's going through like all the different variety, because we have a surprising variety of places around here to eat in terms of ethnic foods and stuff like that. And he was just like, oh, Jersey Mike's finally opened at our town, and it was in the news for like a month. Like, I'm so glad you get to try dim sum, and you don't need to try Subway now.
Antonio at the Cultworthy and I, we have a little bit of a bond just because he actually has a Culver's near him. So every time I go to a Culver's or something in our group chat, I'll be like, hey, Antonio, Culver's buddies.
Oh, okay. So we took a road trip like 15 years ago to visit one of our we were going to go visit some of Liz's family who lives in Virginia, but a friend of ours moved to Kentucky, and so we were swinging in to visit him, and he says, hey, listen, meet me at Raising Cane's, which is shut up. I love Raising Cane's.
Greasy. Greasy.
How do you not like them?
It is so greasy.
Where have you eaten them that they're greasy?
I went to the one in Reno. That was the first one There's one right across the street from the PBS in Reno where I did a job. And no, not a Reno 911 job. Like not one of those jobs, just to clarify.
There's a Raising Cane's in Reno?
Right across from the PBS.
How the hell did they get one before we got one? They have
because Raising Cane's is gross.
No, Raising Cane's is fantastic.
It's
you should
gross.
not be eating Reno. Okay, I'm going to pick you up. We're going to go to the one in DeKalb. We're going to try the one in DeKalb. The one in DeKalb is good. But anytime we go, we send a picture to him saying, hey, look, we went. Because we've been watching it migrate from Kentucky upwards. How the hell did Reno get 3?
I don't Reno's such a weird town. I had never been to Reno prior to this year, and I felt like I was transported back to 1990s. People were smoking indoors, people were driving around in like 1984 Toyota Corollas like they were their babies. Is just the weirdest experience of my life.
I grew up in Reno. I am confused. Okay, they have to have like sold off or franchised because how the hell does Reno have three and Illinois only has a total of six according to their map?
Because Illinois has better taste. Arguably, I
I
guess.
know I'm not arguing that.
No, Illinois has better taste than the city of Reno, at least.
I
Maybe
mean,
not so much this whole state of Nevada. But we are way off topic here, and that's
well,
because we really don't want to talk about Secret Invasion. I had
I
a
just
perfect I had a really good transition from doing the whole tractor bit with the Execubot into talking about how one of my favorite movie going experiences is with Becky, who occasionally shows up. She should be here in a couple of weeks when we do our next What You Doing. We went to go see Age of Ultron with our movie group, and there's that moment when they're on Hawkeye's farm where Mama Hawkeye goes and tells Tony that something's wrong with the tractor, and he's a whiz with engines, so if he could please look at it. And as he walks into the barn, he sees the tractor and he just says, "Hello, dear." And all the way at the opposite end of the theater in our row, I just hear Rebecca go, "Bah!" Like she loves puns, and she just loved that so much that she just could not restrain herself. And out pops Nick Fury. And what happens with this week's episode? Nick Fury is popping out to come back to Earth and take on a Skrull invasion.
I have nothing polite to say.
That
You may
would
continue.
have been my amazing transition if we had stopped before we started talking about Raising Cane's.
I'm gonna edit all that out because how dare you offend me?
Blech.
I just don't understand how Reno has three. I'm so confused. We watched it migrate slowly upwards. We used to go to the one whenever we go to IKEA, we'd go to the one in Schaumburg and
Alex,
get it.
Alex,
What?
Raising
What?
Cane's is gross.
Star Wars
And
over.
Star Wars. Now you can't cut it.
Damn it. It's true.
I'm in charge of the soundboard when we record with Josh. Also, thanks, Tim, for producing Your Finder. Thank you.
I'm gonna lengthen the Star Wars intro so Disney claims this episode.
They'll probably claim it just because of how much shit we're going to talk here in a second.
Oh my god.
I mean, we're only going to talk about this maybe for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Full on spoilers for Secret Invasion, the latest Disney Plus Marvel show. If you want to know what this show is about, watch the first episode because they tell you 3 separate times. Nick Fury comes back and like, man, Nick, you're not the same since you got blipped. And then you realize after the third time, like, oh, okay, the whole point of this show is to be like, and now he's Nick Fury again, which is the same shit they pull with all the Spider-Man movies right now.
My wife is currently watching the 1999 cinema masterpiece, The Mummy, with Brendan Fraser, Rachel Weisz. Can I go watch that instead of talking about this show?
I mean, I wouldn't blame you, but we got to talk a little bit about upcoming Marvel things too to pad out the time. I mean, we spent 5 minutes talking about
Fine.
Raising Cane's.
No, we didn't. I edited it. What's going to be great is if I actually do edit that and then keep that bit right there.
Complete non sequitur.
Okay, so I will quickly lay bare my issue with Secret Invasion. They had 6 episodes, about 3 hours, and $212 million confirmed because the UK has weird tax laws where they have to stipulate how much money was spent. And I don't know where the hell they spent the money.
I don't either. 160 million of that went to Sam Jackson. I don't know.
Sure. I'm confused as to what the point of the story was. I'm very interested that the directors said that they were still editing like episodes 4, 5, and 6 and trying to find the story as episode 1 was airing.
God.
They didn't find it. At the beginning and the end, it's not telling a story. To me, it's not telling a story that's well rounded. That is like some kind of like triumphant like resolution because they begin and end basically the same thing. He returns, but then he goes back, which is where we last saw him in one of the teaser trailers. He's hanging out in space, and I don't feel like a sense of pride that he ended up there. If anything, it's like, please just stay away. We don't need you anymore.
Yeah, so my notes are, again, we're going full spoilers because this does not matter. The show has no effect on the MCU
No one
other
watched it.
than no, yeah, there's very little viewership. Like I think me and Alex and maybe a handful of other people that we know on social media through other podcasts watched this. The show ended on a political message about extremism, but that message is very subdued throughout this because Marvel kind of screwed up when they decided to introduce the Skrulls in Captain Marvel as refugees, homeless, which they are. In the comics they are, but
Hmm.
they're also bastards for the most part. There are some good Skrulls, but 96% of them are just bastards and they just want to find a home and they will do anything they can to get it. But in Captain Marvel, as most everyone should know, it's $1 billion movie. They're the victims. They're the
Yeah.
displaced refugees who are being harassed by the Kree. So when Nick Fury disappears for 5 years and has gone 30 plus years without finding them a home, despite promising them that he would, there's an obvious uprising in angst and different ways to go about finding a home or just deciding they're going to occupy Earth. But that extremist message is just muddled in attempts at espionage, attempts at creating suspense that's not there. And when you get to the point where at the end of the series, the president of the United States is like, fuck the Kree or fuck the Skrulls, murder each and every one of them, get off our planet. And then we have this brief news footage montage of extremists, human extremists, going up and just shooting people in public thinking they might be a Skrull. If they opened with that sort of panic, it's a completely different show, but it's a better show, I think, because there is widespread public panic. You don't know who's who, you don't know what their purpose is. There's a lot to do there. And in this case, it's just Nick Fury is trying to clean up a mess that he created by being blipped.
See, that is part of the thing that bothers the shit out of me about this is that so the way you pitch it sounds one more interesting. It sounds like what the X-Men original X-Men trilogy wish they could have done, which would have been very interesting, is show instead of people just kind of like throwing mutant children out of their household and crap like that, show the panic, show the weirdness of like still one of the best parts of the X-Men franchise is when that senator or whatever is like getting out of the water and like walking on the beach and then like the powers don't quite meld right and he melts. That is still very interesting. It shows the panic of people wondering like what the hell is this? What is going on with our bodies and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, a nude white guy walks out of the ocean. I think anyone would be freaked out.
Unless it's James Bond. But it doesn't do that well. And this is to me, this is the third Marvel show that is centered around the same thing of displaced people. We had Miss Marvel, which a lot of it was about the separation of India and Pakistan, but that's still a big theme of it is that they ended many families end up moving into different parts of the world, leaving behind this stuff. You had Captain America and Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which is about the same thing. We all the people who've been blipped are coming back, so we have to rebuild the borders and all the stuff and the strain that ends with one of the worst speeches that's ever been written and spoken by Captain America, which is "do better."
He's not wrong.
I mean, he's not wrong, but just telling like they're like, "What are we supposed to do? Do better." You're right. You're right. We can do better.
Hey, he's only been Captain America for a day. Come on.
Yeah. And then you have this one, which is I don't understand how Fury being blipped for 5 years created this mess when in theory half the scrolls would have been blipped as well.
Yeah, that's a great point too.
The problem to me should have been more along the lines of like, dude, it's been 30 years, things are worse. They could have built off of the issues in Captain America and the Winter Soldier of like, hey, listen, this is getting worse. And maybe even try to move the angle of, hey, we're moving into things to try to politics into areas and getting rid of people to make things better, or versus this whole just we're just revolutionaries again.
It's just a mess because we don't care about the characters that the Skrulls are inhabiting. Like, oh, they're the Prime Minister of England and or the UK, and they're the bodyguard for this mystery woman who works at SIS, which, I mean, I'm forgetting her first name, but Fallsworth. She was like the
Yeah.
one bright spot of this series. Which, again, the big thing we have been talking about every time we talk about these series is that besides Loki, they all feel like they're just movies that have had minimal scenes cut.
And the reason why Fallsworth is amazing is because it's Olivia Colman, and of course she is. But the three big reveals, I think, were kind of stupid as well. You have them killing Maria Hill for no reason, other than just they needed a MCU character that needed to go die off to create drama and plot. Nick Fury's wife is actually a Skrull. He loved one so much he married one, and then decided to do nothing about her people at all. And then you have that apparently Nick Fury really sucks at his job.
Yeah, the only reason he's even Nick Fury is because he was manipulating the Skrulls into doing all of his infiltration and espionage.
Yeah.
I mean, to go back to what I was saying about how this series needed to start differently and the message that it ends on with extremism, like you could do the racism parallel again. I think that's one of the things that the show was actively avoiding, which maybe hurt it that much, is because there was racism allegories in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which Rainey from the Red Dove and I still love that conversation. I think it's like episode 35 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Is the 1 year anniversary, and she and I talked about it for a good hour. And you could just go back to that, but you can tell it in a different way. Disney is fighting this fight with Ron DeSantis right now. I'm sorry to get political at the moment, but I'm trying to vouch for something that would have been better than the show that we got. And Disney's in a fight with Ron DeSantis, or DeSantis, however the hell he wants to pronounce his name. They have this fight with the LGBTQ community where they're pretending to be on the side of them, which it's more just dollar signs that they're trying to not lose, and cast members, employees, whatever. But they have a front going right now where they can be like, hey, look, we are on the right side of history, even though behind the scenes and in the executive office they are not. No way close to it. But they can keep putting that face on there and just create good manufactured goodwill. And they can tell stories that are impactful by embracing a message which could be racism, and it's embodied through aliens, which we've seen 100 times. We see it in Star Trek every week. There's always something going on. Not that I watch Star Trek every week, just so we make sure that's clear. But there's so much potential behind all of this that they just completely missed the board, is so infuriating. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, the show does also take a quick moment to let you know that Nick Fury is drawn to strong women, which is why he loved his mother and hired Maria Hill, promoted her, and married a strong alien woman, and is drawn to Carol Danvers. So, at least Nick Fury likes women, which, again, not a bad thing, but it's such a weird tacked on moment to be like, Nick Fury loves strong women. Look at this. But we're not going to touch that racism storyline that we could have, but we are very clearly avoiding.
Well, I mean, he loves them enough to let them die in front of him, to not do anything about their people, to not call them once in 30 years and say, hey, listen, there's a big purple guy we got to deal with. It would be nice if you showed up.
He was busy pretending to be dead. I'm sorry. Despite the fact that apparently everyone knows he was alive at some point, which they still never covered.
I just was bored.
Yeah, it was not engaging at all.
If every episode was a mixture of like who's actually a Skrull, that would have been interesting. Like if there's some kind of merging of like, I would have even found it more interesting in the last episode if it turned out that the Skrull we're watching, I mean the Nick Fury we've been watching the entire season had actually been a Skrull. That actually might have been interesting. Of like you're different, because then it would have been like an ultimate reveal of like, okay, where is actually Fury? Was this Skrull part of it? Were they subverting it? Were they just delaying things? Did they have their own additional agenda? And it just was nothing. That's the problem, is that ultimately we end up in the exact same spot. Fury's off doing something. The Skrulls are still here. Now they're actively hunting them, which is dumb. I mean, I don't like that.
No.
That basically declared open season, which basically turns in I mean, I know they mostly focus in the U.S., but it basically kind of turns the entire world into this like, there's 7 billion of us. We're going to like start shanking everybody within within a 5 mile vicinity to confirm who and what is scrolls.
Yeah, and there's no which like I said earlier, it takes this weird twist into an extremism ideal, but there's nothing behind it other than fear. And I get
Yeah,
that fear mongering, we have it right now. There's
yeah.
a former president running around saying they're stealing the election from you,
Mm.
even though there is no substantial evidence to disprove that, or to prove that, I should say.
Right.
Um, and so, like, the fear mongering, I get, but it needed to be focused. It can't be generalized because then it just becomes a muddy mess, as you were saying.
No, I don't understand why they just didn't go all in with what they're trying. Is there just is there some kind of issue where they're really actually leaning into the comics where every series has to be its own little like neatly wrapped bow of like as you've said repeatedly, and Nick Fury learns to be Nick Fury again, except he was never Nick Fury to begin with. So he goes back on vacation with his wife. I don't get.
But this time he went on vacation with his wife.
Oh,
Last time
that's
he didn't.
true. Ah, that's true. I forgot. Would have been great if they'd actually been divorced the whole time. She sold everything. The house was on its own. She was living with somebody else. She's like, you were blipped and you were gone. I got nothing, man. The laws of abandonment. You've been gone. Or he comes home and she's with a scroll who looks like him.
And like, we're not even talking about the main antagonist here, because the main antagonist is a guy named Gravik, who a scroll named Gravik, who's decided he's going to become the scroll general, which means nothing to us.
Yeah.
And he's going to lead the uprising and basically enslavement of the human race, from what I understand, or the extinction of the human race brought on by the scrolls. And they'll take over Earth, 1 million of them. He becomes a super scroll. That fight was just awful. I have seen better CGI work in Lois and Superman and Lois, the latest Superman show on the CW. Like the Arrowverse and the Flash have had better CGI than what that final fight was. Like, you could just see there was no budget put into the special effects for that moment. And they also didn't care. You could tell they did not care about this.
And on top of not caring, I didn't understand. So the flag smashers, their their agenda become super soldiers. You have the not Captain America. Their agenda become a super soldier. This one, their agenda turn all the scrolls into super soldiers. Okay, so everything in this grandmother is now a super soldier. It doesn't make sense and it's stupid. And especially that this super soldier serum is created not from super soldiers, but apparently Nick Fury followed all the Avengers around with a beaker, and anytime they had a nosebleed, kind of went like, "Here, I got that for you."
They said they did say that it was every Avenger spilled blood in the battle for Earth.
Yeah, I know, I know, but really, that was like his main motivation at that moment. Not 4 billion people have suddenly reappeared, including him. His first thought was, "Damn, I gotta get a beaker." All right, and then I'm sorry. I get the intention of what you're doing is to show where this power comes from, but to grow a Drax arm and then a Mantis head and all the other stupid things they showed of like where you're pulling your power from was just stupid.
Yeah, and like, what they said Cull Obsidian and someone else for the powers that they were able to just get their hands on for whatever reason. But
Yeah.
like, I don't remember who the other person was, but they did not have like a group power. I don't know any other supervillain that they've ever encountered in the MCU that had those abilities that would have been on Earth.
They were still finding the story, Josh.
Because Cull Obsidian was the guy that got his arm chopped off while he was dropped in the Arctic by Doctor Strange in Infinity War.
Oh, was that? I thought that was like one of the ones that like that Tony fought. But then
No,
again, I don't know all their names.
I mean, Tony did fight him in Infinity War, but Doctor
Oh,
Strange is the
okay.
one who cut off, or no, Wong was the one who cut off his arm,
Ah,
because Wong
okay.
got
There we
invited to
go.
his wedding after that.
Whatever.
Yeah, if I have to compliment anything in this show, it's Fallsworth was amazing. Like, every scene she was in, she was just charming as hell. And there is that scene, I think, in the second episode, maybe it's the third episode, on the train between Fury and Talos, where Sam Jackson turns on his acting. Where
Yeah.
like as soon as he says, "Are you out of your reptile ass mind?" He goes off on like a 2-minute soliloquy that is just really good. Like, I can't speak to the writing. I don't remember what it is, but Sam Jackson is acting, and I'm like, that's why he's an actor. Like, that's why he is here. And but the rest of the series, he's just being really stoic and like,
Can we talk about how Disney doesn't know what the hell to do with a man who's over the age of 60, other than make them broken, bitter, and strained marriages? I mean, and thing about it is that of all my examples, about 3/4 of those are Harrison Ford.
Han Solo, here, Indiana
And
Jones,
Nick Fury.
Nick Fury.
Yeah, I don't like that. I have
No.
seen the mouse needs to realize that if they want to tell like a fallen hero storyline, they can actually make the hero fall, not fallen, and that would have been interesting. I mean, like, what if this series had ended with him coming back, discovering this plot, they're turning against scrolls, stuff like that. Maybe episode 4 or 5, he realizes that he had been manipulated by the scrolls this whole time, and that not only his friend Talos, but then this other one is having this uprising, and Talos has to admit to him that there's a problem. There's actually over 1 million of us, and I never told you. You were so busy doing other stuff. Have it turn out that he is dealing with the weight of everything that he failed to see versus that he just sucks at his job.
Yeah, and that's already a better show. I mean, you could build off of that easily, but I really just do not understand where the money went for this and how this gets out of any kind of writing room as like, yeah, this is a good story. We can get people on board with this.
I don't know. So you excited for the Marvels?
I actually am. I am excited for the Marvels. The 2 trailers that we've gotten look really fun. And as I said before, you could skip this series and probably the only difference would be Nick Fury's wife, Skrull wife, is on the spaceship with him on the Saber.
Hell, make her come out of that room they were coming out of. When he came out of that room and was like it was looking at the bathroom, maybe they were showering together or something. And he's taking a look out, and she walks up and gives him a hug, and it's like, oh, okay. I mean, heck, just have her be a scroll and be like, oh, well then.
So yeah, part of what we wanted to talk about this week also, which I mean, we might run long because we talked about Nick Fury a little longer than we were planning. The remaining things for Marvel this year are Loki season 2, which starts in October, and then the Marvels comes out in November, and then Echo gets dumped in one batch, which that tells me they have no faith in this property.
Mm-mm.
That gets dumped right after, like 2 or 3 weeks after the Marvels hits theaters. 2024 looks like it could end up being a big black hole for Marvel and for most studios because of the writers and actors strikes. But Deadpool was supposed to be released in May. Captain America: Brave New World was supposed to be released in July. Thunderbolts, I think, was supposed to be August, and then a couple of Disney Plus shows that are still on the table. But again, I don't know if they're actually going to happen at this point. Agatha: Coven of Chaos, which I think chuck it in the bin. Catherine Hahn, is that who played
Yeah,
Agatha? Yeah,
she's great.
yeah, she's fantastic, and she was fun in WandaVision. I don't need a series about her. I don't need a one-off series about her origin story or whatever. Like if they do a time jump or there's like a little bit of origin story, a little bit of her becoming Agatha again after the events of WandaVision. I don't care. I don't need more of it. And then Daredevil Born Again was supposed to release sometime, and that's supposed to be like an 18 episode series that they're actually filming as a TV series. And I was actually excited for that one, but that is all this is likely getting pushed to at the very earliest late 2024 at this point.
They're doing 18 episodes of Daredevil Born Again.
Yeah, they're essentially building a trilogy into one season.
Why?
So like 3 6 episode arcs.
Why?
Why not? Daredevil's a good property, and they've got what's his face from the Netflix series that I'm forgetting his name right now.
Charlie Cox.
That's his name.
John Barenthal is back as Punisher for that series.
Yeah, but they're not bringing back Foggy or I'm forgetting her the love interest that wasn't Elektra. I'm forgetting her name. But those two aren't back as of yet. But there's still time with the strikes happening.
But why?
Why are they not back, or why do I want them back?
No. Why do they need 18 episodes? They arguably don't have enough to fit 6.
I just said they're gonna make it a trilogy. From my understanding, there's gonna be 3 6-episode arcs that would work out to a trilogy of movies that they're just gonna workshop into 18 episodes.
But why? I don't. Okay. So
To that question, I don't understand. I mean, I don't know, because it's just something that they decided to try before they got rid of Chapek.
okay, I will lay it out like this: WandaVision 9 episodes, pretty good. 1 or 2 kind of eh. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, arguably I could have done with 1 or 2 more episodes because I think they were having a little bit of trouble balancing the focus between Falcon and Winter Soldier. I could have done, to me, one of my favorite moments was the beginning of that, was at maybe episode 6, maybe 5, where they're showing Winter Soldier going through the ritual in Wakanda to break him of his mind control. That was phenomenal acting. Like Sebastian Stan in those moments of the fear and trust and confusion and that of them going, that was wonderful. Could have used a little
Mhm.
bit more of that.
Yep.
Loki took way too long to get to Loki kissing, which I was, but that's just me.
Kiss her
Hawkeye,
already. Kiss
exactly.
yourself.
Hawkeye could have been 4 episodes. Moon Knight,
Oh, how dare you. Hawkeye, I needed more.
Moon Knight,
Moon Knight, no. No. Sorry. Sorry, Scotty. Sorry, anyone else who really enjoyed Moon Knight. That show really just felt like it wasn't as disappointing as Secret Invasion, but it really just felt like this doesn't matter.
Miss Marvel could have been 3. It took a little while to get
For
where it
the
was
arc
going.
that they chose to do, yes. Which if you liked Ms. Marvel, I did too. I think God, it's like you said earlier, it's been a year of a week, and I got Tim sitting in the back just looking at me like, why you blank staring at me? What the hell is her name?
Miss
Iman
Marvel. Oh,
Iman
Iman
Vellani?
Vellani, yes.
Something like that. I
No,
apologize for I'm close. I know it's Iman something. Um, she's a fantastic Ms. Marvel. I think everyone is really well cast in that show,
mm-hmm.
but we needed to keep her in Jersey City for at least season 1. If they wanted to do a
Yes.
season 2 and do that storyline that they did for season 1, I'm all for it. But we needed more of Kamala being a teenager and
Mm-hmm.
learning about these powers.
Yeah.
And that's a summarization of our Ms. Marvel episode that Matt and I did. I do think it's a good episode to go back and listen to, though.
She-Hulk should have been 4 or 5. Because the fact of the matter is, they forgot who the bad guy was until they remembered at the end of the last episode, like, oh, right. So, I mean, then we had Secret Invasion, which, so, I mean, I'm hopeful. Loki. I mean, Loki's really good, but am a little concerned. Thus far, any of the material released hasn't suggested that Sylvie's back, which Sylvie better be back because I need more Loki on Loki love. I need more classic Loki. I need more of the other Lokis. Owen Wilson was surprisingly amazing, but I'm looking at Echo and Ironheart, Agatha, and I'm wondering like if these are all, because these are all shows that have $200 million budgets that have that have 6 to 9 episodes. That apparently Feige was told, hey, listen, here's your budget. Just you have to produce at least 3 hours of content, which is why some of these episodes like Secret Invasion were 38 minutes with 8 minutes of trailers. I mean, credits. I don't know if they have enough story, which is why I'm surprised that Daredevil Born Again has 18 episodes confirmed that they're filming. Maybe if we get, like you said, 3 really good arcs of 6, 6, and 6, which is the mark of the Daredevil.
well done. I wish I didn't
you.
delete the applause.
Maybe, but I'm not excited.
No, the future of the MCU is bleak, and I think it goes back to they didn't want to rush into let's reestablish building the Avengers. They wanted to come back and be like, what's a post Avengers world look like, and what kind of threat is going to reassemble the Avengers. But they needed those breadcrumbs that kept people coming back, and they just decided to chuck those breadcrumbs into the bin.
Yeah.
Because like, yeah, Sam Wilson is Captain America now. Bucky is his Winter Soldier. Bucky as the Winter Soldier is doing his own thing. we've got all the ingredients just kind of hanging out. We've got Yelena as the new Black Widow. Spider-Man's hanging out maybe somewhere.
Vision is
Ms.
on his Vision,
Marvel, yeah, Vision's on his Vision quest to find himself.
which is apparently supposed to be filming.
Oh, I mean, nothing's filming right now.
They said the release date was planned for late 2024, so they got to get on filming that eventually.
I think they were too scared to go back to the Avengers Assemble formula.
Yeah.
And there's a way they could have done that without it being the same. And I think it all comes back to that for them, where they didn't want to repeat themselves. And instead they've just made really good Shang-Chi movie, a really mediocre Black Widow movie, a really mediocre Eternals movie, which no one asked for, which, like, that's kind of the idea, is you give people something they didn't know they wanted. But Eternals was not that.
No, in fact, they seem to have just completely ignored that.
It's all missing something. And I mean, part of it, especially in those early phase 4 movies, with the exception of like Spider-Man No Way Home and Shang-Chi, especially because Shang-Chi that laid out some breadcrumbs, because they were talking about like, oh, we don't know what your 10 rings are made of. We don't know where they come from. There's nothing in our Rolodex that we have over at Carmitage. There's nothing happening. We don't know what's going on with all this, but like there is a breadcrumb trail coming from Shang-Chi, and then Marvel just went, we don't need that. We're just going to start doing the multiverse stuff.
I forgot that Shang-Chi ended with Bruce Banner saying that the rings actually pulse and send out a beacon when they're activated somewhere into the universe.
Yeah, and I think that's probably going to come up a little bit in Ms. Marvel, or at least maybe that's another or not Ms. Marvel, the Marvels. Like maybe that's part of where the breadcrumbs are going from Shang-Chi, but it feels like they just completely went, oh, let's forget all the COVID era Marvel stuff and let's just rebuild starting with Ant-Man Quantumania. And I don't think that works. It clearly hasn't so far. Oh, Black Panther 2 Wakanda Forever, I think still above average. I think that one was really good. I don't know if it's as good as the first Black Panther movie, but
no,
I still really enjoy it.
It was better than I expected.
Also, She-Hulk's good. She-Hulk rocks. I love that one.
Yeah,
just a fun little it's a fun little side road in the MCU.
Yeah, it was just a little long. I think it was a week-to-week hurt, that one.
It was a little Wong. Because he showed up a lot.
Yeah. Oh, what is his not girlfriend's like name? Tiffany, but you don't know where the I is
Madison.
or something.
Madison is with 2 N's,
She was my
1
favorite.
Y, but it's not where
Wongers.
you think.
Who apparently street fights. The Sorcerer Supreme hangs out with Madison with a why we're not where you expect, and it gets into street fights.
Yep. For money, ethics.
I did really
and there's still just these massively detailed reports that have bothered me since it was WandaVision.
Yeah, it was
where
WandaVision,
where they had an argument over like really specific details about Captain Marvel versus Thanos. And I'm like, who is writing these debriefs? Who is writing these reports that are this detailed?
Okay,
is Friday taking these notes and just like uploading them or something from Iron Man's suit?
Yeah, and she's talking about how they recast the brother and all this other stuff. It's like it might have worked if they had set it up like Logan, where it turns out the X-Men the Avengers are like the X-Men and actually have comics about them.
that is a thing in the Marvel Comics universe, where Marvel is an actual entity and they have writers who like follow them around and writing comics about their world.
Yeah, but the problem is that Falcon is still not paid for residuals, which is why the actors and writers are on strike against Tony Stark right now in the real world. It all goes back to residuals, likeness rights, and fair pay, and gosh damn it, Falcon and the Winter Soldier had it right. Pay your writers, pay your superheroes. Tony, you're cheap.
Don't be afraid of going into a political alley and sticking with it.
And nepotism, because what happens? Tony dies, and he gives his empire to a 17-year-old white kid from Brooklyn, or the Bronx, wherever the hell Spider-Man is.
Queens?
Queens, there you go, who puts on glasses that actually are controlled missile strikes.
Drones. I'm sorry, they're drones.
Sorry, controlled drones that have missiles that will activate a kill mode and follow and chase down buses.
And also
full of
extraordinarily
children.
realistic hologram processes as well.
Exactly. I do like that meme. Like, why why are you a supervillain? Oh, I accidentally killed my wife, trying to control the power of the sun. And then Tony's supervillain. Why are you after Spider-Man? He called my technology barf one time.
MCU villain. Why are you a villain? I bumped into Tony Stark and it just seemed like the thing to do.
Exactly.
And then all the Avengers. Why are you an Avenger? How do you make money?
Merchandising.
Except Tony doesn't pay us that.
Because yeah, I mean they have costumes made out of their characters, like as we establish in Hawkeye. So yeah, there has to be some kind of residual paycheck out there, but Tony's just hoarding all of it.
Yeah, and
Tony from his grave.
Merchandising. Where the real money from the movie is made.
should someone talk to Pepper?
Maybe Pepper's the villain all along. Maybe all the chuds are right.
Yes, that's actually what it is. It turns out Tony was so focused on the technology and Pepper was running the business. Pepper actually was not processing payments.
My brain worked.
And then that's what you got to be. We got to be outside of Avengers headquarters with a sign that says just PPP. Pepper process our payments.
No, quadruple P. Pepper Potts process payments.
There you go.
Did she ever hyphenate, or was she just always Pepper Potts? Which, I mean, like, that would be the thing to do. You don't want to be a Stark because you might accidentally create a supervillain.
I mean, it would have been hard to find like a rabbi during the blip, man. Half of them are gone.
Do we know that Pepper is Jewish, or Tony wouldn't be Jewish? He would just try to figure out a way to work around the court and just be like, "Oh, we're married. I paid this guy $10 million to sign a piece of paper, and it's official. We're married."
Turns out Banner's actually a priest.
There you go. He got ordained online. Steve was opposed to the idea, but he was still there.
It's like, you guys have had premarital sex. I can't endorse this wedding.
Oh, come on. There's a whole joke at the end of She-Hulk, Captain America fucks. He doesn't care about that sort of thing. He's progressive.
This is my headcanon, according to She-Hulk, since he lost his virginity to a girl on the OS tour. We're assuming it is the smirking whore from Highgarden, right? That's the one, because she was in the first Avengers movie, Captain America. She was the one hitting on him that then caused Haley Atwell to pull out a gun.
You're talking about the girl at the USO show. You're talking about Peter Quill's mom.
Oh my!
Played by the same actress. She's just more blonde.
Yes.
She's blonde from a bottle. This went on a real weird direction from us being like, we're going to talk about Secret Invasion for 10 minutes and then just kind of talk about the state of the MCU. And now we're just rambling about nonsense within the MCU.
Oh my God. Do you remember? It was very long episodes ago. I was arguing that fondue, but the reason why Steve was confused about thought fondue was sex is the way that Howard Stark says it. What if Tony actually went to an OSU girl and was like, "Hey, you want to go get fondue?" No, she asked him, "Do you want to get fondue?" And he started to disrobe, and she's like, "Okay." So he's hanging out with Peggy in the alternate timeline after Endgame, brings up fondue. One of them does, and that's their code word for "let's get down to business, defeat the Huns."
Oh, that's their wedding vows. But do you take Peggy Carter to be your lawfully wedded wife? I fondue. Peggy, do you take Steve Rogers to be your lawfully wedded husband? You bet I fondue.
It's Howard Stark who's doing the wedding. Because why wouldn't he be there? He's probably ordained in like 7 countries.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I did the Peggy Carter accent wrong. I'm sorry. You bet I fondue.
It's gonna be the worst episode we've done.
Everyone's gonna hate this episode so much, but I am tired and it's been a hell of a week. I didn't get to see Barbie yet. I'm really distraught over that. That was supposed to be my birthday present, was I get to go see Barbie, and didn't happen because reasons. Mostly because of Mr. Hemorrhoid over into Appleton area there.
You didn't go up to Ricky and go, "Come on, Ricky, let's go party."
Oh man, I should have. Okay, I'll save that for the Blu-ray release, and we'll just drive out to Target or wherever, and she'll be like, "What the hell are we doing here? Like, time to party. Go get Barbie."
Well, I will say, in case you didn't listen to the last episode, yes, I know you listened to it, that Barbie was fun, and I had way more enjoyment out of watching Barbie than I did this.
Oh, there's another episode. What are things we have watched that we got more enjoyment out of? Literally this morning I watched the miraculous Ladybug and Cat Noir movie, and that was way more fun than this. But I mean, it's also actually a fun kid show in the vein of like Power Rangers and Sailor Moon. So, I mean that's like apples and oranges comparison there.
So you haven't seen Oppenheimer yet, have you?
I haven't even seen Barbie. How am I finding 3 hours to go sit through depressing we're destroying the world nonsense?
At any point, did you actually think Coulson was going to pop up in this thing?
No, I was surprised to see Everett Ross show up. What the heck?
Yeah.
I want to credit these actors, but my brain is not with me.
It's not Harrison Ford.
No, it's not Harrison Ford. He's not over 60, so he's not broken. But he's Everett Ross is supposed Martin Freeman. I was gonna say Morgan Freeman, and I knew that was not right.
You got to say, it's to me, Martin Freeman is either old Bilbo or young Bilbo. I can't decide which because, frankly, he's not old. He's not old Bilbo from Lord of the Rings, but because it's a more recent show, I can't call him young Bilbo, so I don't fucking know.
But I mean, I was surprised to see him show up because he's supposed to be locked away in Wakanda, but apparently the Skrulls went and broke into Wakanda and took him out so they could brainwipe him or whatever they do to steal his memories.
What is the stupid idea that they have that apparently there's a million Skrulls, they're replacing everybody, and they just put them in hibernation tanks in a big ass warehouse?
Well, it's a way for them to like access their memories, but yeah, I don't know, because if from what I understand or what I remember from the comics is those hibernation chambers work kind of telepathically. So like a Skrull is synced up to a machine, and those memories just get transferred into the Skrull who is impersonating the person. So they can pretty much become like a sleeper agent. They don't even know they're a Skrull. And there are things that have happened in the comics, like there's a Skrull storyline from the Fantastic Four, I believe, where there's another Skrull invasion, and Mr. Fantastic brainwashes the Skrulls into believing they are cows, and so there's just like a herd of Skrull cows somewhere in the Midwest of America.
So, question?
Yes, it's unethical as fuck.
Yeah. So, yeah, one, I don't understand how we're supposed to sympathize with those Skrulls, but that's fine. So Roddy is going to have all the memories. Rhodey, sorry, is going to have all the memories of since he was captured, which apparently was what, after Civil War.
They said long time. They didn't care to specify because they knew that would create continuity errors. So they're just like, oh, long time.
So a long time. So like about at the end of Civil War. So the problem is going to be now if that was a Skrull, does that mean I have questions and they're not answer? I don't get it.
My best guess is that it was around the time Captain America Falcon and the Winter Soldier happened. Like he's trying to deconstruct the power structure of the US government so that he can work his way up. So he convinces Sam to give away the shield, and then they hire a white supremacist to take over and all sorts of bullshit. I think it's supposed to be implied somewhere around there because that would be the easiest time to access Rhodey because he's getting he's taking Ross's spot after the blip and everything. So I think that's more than likely what's happening.
So let me get this right now. I would like to go get some cheese curds from the Culvers in the custard, and they close in about 30 minutes. So can we wrap this up?
It's summertime. They don't close till 11.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. It's only during the winter where they close around 9.
Yeah, that's a true dare.
That's a true there. I will say it is almost Packers. It is almost Packer season again.
It is almost Packer season. That's right. But we don't talk about American football. We got to talk about the real football with West Ham United and Wrexham. That Ryan Reynolds, what he and that Robert Mulaney, whatever his name is, McElhaney, they did a great job with Wrexham there.
Oh yeah, that guy from It's Always Sunshiny in the Phillies or whatever.
That was good. Sunshiny into Phillies. They got horses down there?
At least two. That one of them is that Palomino, the Palomino color, not like the car.
Oh, Jamie Palomino. That was the girl from Just Friends.
Lovely girl.
All right, this is all getting cut, I'm sure. Maybe you'll add it as a post credits. I don't know. But yeah, let's get started on the wrapping up here.
Okay.
Tim's back, by the way. He's coming back to finish out the show. Are you Joey? Did Joey join us?
Yeah, I'm Joey.
Oh, hey Joey, my brother from the same mother.
Exactly. Which is rare in our part of the country.
Oh, that's some low blowing right there.
That's how we end up with brothers from different mothers.
I said the same mother.
I don't know what that means. Oh, this is a crap episode.
This is so bad. This is gonna be our most downloaded episode ever. This is the one that gets us canceled. But that British accent's right on the spot there.
It so is.
So you can find us on. Nope, sorry. You can leave all this in, Alex. By the way, we're getting rid of Lonnie's promotion there. We're not gonna really talk too much about it. If you're following us on Lonnie's website, you can feel free to continue to do so. But I am distancing myself from it. I'll be deleting my personal account there shortly, and the podcast account will remain open until that website crashes and burns.
You mean old Lusky?
It'll mostly just be while Alex updates you on what horror movie I will not be watching. But you can find us on Instagram, Hive Social, Post, Threads, all of the social medias at Talking Smack Pod. You can also find us on YouTube, Facebook. Don't forget to join our Discord. You can email us at tsmackpod@gmail.com if you have any episode suggestions. If you're interested, you're another podcast host, you're interested in guesting, definitely let us know. Thank you to Leo Allen for our musical themes, Beppo for our original avatars. Thank you to Retro Ale Studios for our Ricky avatar. Please like, subscribe, rate, review the podcast. But most importantly, thanks Tim Fitzgerald at Wembembo for showing up. You're welcome, Dare. Thanks for having me one more time. Let's talk about Guilty Gear and Street Fighter next time.
Oh, and we love that John C. Reilly, who's doing our musical theme this week.
Short thing there, Bob.
Mm-hmm. He was great.
Bob's your uncle.
Exactly. Bob's your uncle. Phil's your cousin. And the Talladega Knights, they were a good football team. Mm-hmm. Gotta love that. Now, don't forget, by Nabisco. The Fig Newtons are fantastic.
But most importantly, thank you so much, everyone, for sitting through this shit. Especially this week. I'm so sorry. The hemorrhoids, I swear. At least they don't bother me because there's enough fat back there.
I don't even fucking know what that means.
I don't know either. I want to know what kind of doctor he has. Just so I can avoid it.
Did they check the wrong area? Fuck.
I don't know. And it's hard to turn this accent off after so long.
Ugh.
Hey, you Avengers. Oh, and watch that Star Trek there. We forgot about the Star Trek.
Oh, fuck, I forgot Patrick Stewart's name for a second.
Oh, what the fuck is Patrick Stewart's name? I forgot what it was.
Ian McKellen, he was great in that Star Trek show, Picard.
No, you're thinking of Christopher Plummer.
Oh, that's right.
No, Christopher Lee. Shit. God damn it. I got it. No, I'm the one that has to press stop. Shit.
And that's how we became besties.